What is music? Glad you asked. I'm Travis Whitmire, and welcome to Section 2. And today, I want to dive right into what is music. You might have a different answer than you. However, generally speaking, there's a common understanding from an intellectual standpoint, and then there's our personal experience with music. And we're going to get into both. And it's my hope and my goal in this lesson and all my lessons that we're building tools that allow us to develop a technique that gives us freedom of expression. So ultimately, as we discuss these items or these elements of what is music and we talk about the terminology, let's not forget that the creation of the art is ultimately our goal, and we don't be so tied up in the technique and the technical jargon that we forget about the whole point of this, which is to be able to share the gift of music, the love and passion of art, and to be able to make the world a better place through our giving of our gifts. So we all have a gift. Whether your gift is what some people might call a natural tendency or inclination to be able to naturally pick up the guitar or any instrument and understand it, or maybe your gift is just to not give up and to develop and acquire the skill and practice really hard. Either way, you develop this gift and it's satisfying yourself, you're sharing that with other people. It's a joy in life. So let's dive right in. What is music? Now, from a technical standpoint, we have the definition. And it's generally accepted in our Western tonal music system here that we have three key elements or components that are used to make music. These three elements, number one, shall be rhythm. Rhythm, as defined by so many people. I really have a hard time with this because I feel like we're putting it in a box. So in the box, rhythm, as far as is defined, a strong repeated pattern. That's one way of describing this. Now, what does that even mean? Okay, we have a definition. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm using this English language over here to describe something that almost defies the language that I'm using to explain it. So how I envision and feel and understand rhythm is capturing moments of music as it passes through time. So as we have a clock that goes around, a world that goes around, we have all this movement. We have nothing is static. It's either growing or contracting. And with that, in this movement, well, we can measure this distance from one specific moment to the next. And in music, how we do that is we have notes played for a duration of time and then space between these notes. And that's going to be the rhythm. And the rhythm is always happening over what we feel is a pulse, like a heartbeat. So we have a pulse. Might hear in music, call it a beat. Yeah. Don't confuse beat and rhythm, all right? Did you hear that? Not exactly the same. They're not interchangeable. The rhythm, again, is the feel of the floating of the sounds measured in time over this pulse. So let's move on to the next part, melody. Now, melody can mean different things to different people, and one person's melody might be somebody else's disaster. However, generally speaking, and all of these things can be debated, or you can go into deep philosophical discussions at another point. But generally speaking, with a melody, we have a melodic contour. We have notes that we hear that are going up and down in pitch. And I tend to think of this as like the notes floating through time. So we have the floating as it's going through time. So a rhythm is more of just like a constant, like a wheel spinning around, and the notes, the floating through that. So again, this is my take, and you come up with a better definition by all means. Write it down in a discussion, let's talk about it. But let's jump into the next part, harmony. So one way to understand this from a very basic standpoint is chords and the movement of chords. So let's go backwards just a little bit. Chords. What are chords? A great way to understand chords from the very fundamental level is, you remember I talked about the notes going up and down? Well, we have notes and we stack them up on top of each other, simultaneously playing notes, moving together, chords moving in some progression. Well, that's going to be your harmony. It's the movement of these chords, so these groups of notes together. And we apply some time, some value to these, and we have music. So let me give you an example. And I think that most of you are going to recognize this. I'm going to start off with applying a rhythm to the idea of a melody, although it's not going to be the right notes on purpose. So don't anyone give me some comments down below about how I'm playing the wrong notes. I already know that, if there's such a thing as wrong notes. Maybe this is the best version you've ever heard, but so check it out. Ah. What? Worst version of the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star ever. However, you might have recognized it because I played the correct rhythm. Let's just say a recognizable rhythmic pattern. So now, let me play the melody without the rhythm, but I'll play the right notes. Well, notes that are at least recognized as familiar. Now, if I just played that by itself without playing the rhythm before, likely you'd have no idea what that is. Why? Because we didn't have a rhythm to tie it to. The rhythm is so important in our music because that's what makes everything recognizable, and that's the driving force that's moving this music through time. So check it out. Let's now dive into the chord realm, the harmony. I'm going to play the chords, very basic, simple, most common chili dog chords, like to call them, that we'll all be learning soon. Let's start off with a C, Mr. C chord here. And I'm not playing the melody, I'm just going to play the chords. Whoa. So now I've played what would be considered harmony. I'm playing these, it's reharmonized because there was a melody note on top, although it wasn't the melody of the song. If I jump in now and play with the melody note on top, meaning the highest note we're going to hear, with these chords played with the right rhythm, let's see what we get. Whoa. All of a sudden, it all comes together. We have just played with rhythm. We have just played with melody. We have just played with harmony. We're playing music. It's important. So what I want to do in closing in this lesson and in all of our future lessons is talk about how we want to develop a keen sense of our rhythm. First and foremost, way too many guitar players are playing without rhythm. I'm a victim of it myself. However, worked really hard on the rhythm. I'm going to continue to work really hard on the rhythm. I'm never going to stop. And I don't think anyone could ever have too great of a rhythm. Maybe Chick Corea can, but not too great, just better than most. Anyways, that being said, we want to develop on our melodic sense and our understanding of harmony, because in developing these tools and having a greater understanding of the only three elements that make up music, that give us the opportunity to hopefully sit amongst anybody in any musical situation and be able to contribute something that makes the music better, that allows for you to have a statement and say something. And how do you do that? How are you, some guy from Kentucky playing bluegrass, who could sit in with some African drummer somewhere and play something musical? Well, you're going to understand rhythm. You're going to understand where you fit in with rhythm, and you're going to be able to understand or hear a melody and hear harmony together and be able to interject. Because again, no matter what you're playing, what style or what kind of music or what instrument, you're really only going to be playing one, two, or all three of these together, these elements. So let's build upon these and practice these. So now what I want you to do in closing here is, next time you put on a song, stop, song. Maybe not Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but I want you to be able to separate these three elements and hear the rhythm, hear the melody, hear the harmony, hear the chords. One thing I used to do when I was driving home from school, when I was in music school, and I'd put on a tape back in cassette tape days, and I'd be driving really late at night, and I listened to all these funk records or funk cassettes, and I would hear a rhythm pattern, whether it was the drums or something cool on the bass, or a rhythm guitar, and I'd stop on the side of the road and I would write it out, and then I would drive the next, however long with my metronome on, and I would tap out that rhythm, tap it out, tap it out. I'd capture a rhythm because that's what I could do while I was driving. But I would then take and learn to chord with the rhythm, learn the chords together in the context of the song, really try to dissect everything. So we're built upon these three separate elements individually, but we're always going to be trying to come at them together and put them together in one context as well. So awesome to have you here again. Let's jump into another lesson, and shoot me your comments down below. I believe they're going to be down there. No, a little bit more. Okay. Crazy chord. Oh, what chord? Oh, it's not crazy, but it's really nice. How about this one? Ooh, I know you thought I was here. Okay, I didn't. Okay. See you later, alligator and wild crocodile. Stop. Go. Well.